For every single character that's in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, there's at least 40 you people want in the game. Sometimes it's because of the potential for an interesting moveset, while other times it's for fans wanting their favorite franchise represented in a Nintendo Hall of Fame. And then there's cases like Banjo Kazooie who fall into both categories. So you'd think these two characters would have been in the game a long time ago, but even though Microsoft's Vice President of Gaming, Phil Moore-Butts, said he'd allow the characters to be featured, I don't think there's any chance in hell that Nintendo's actually gonna put these two characters into the game. Why is that, you ask? Well, take a break from painting horse eggs, take those sleeping pills out of your dad's milk, cause that's totally not cool. Press the subscribe button if you haven't already, and allow me, the 900,042nd greatest cricket player alive, Cameron, to tell you why Banjo and Kazooie won't be in Smash anytime soon. Before I begin, I want to make it perfectly clear that Banjo and Kazooie are personally my most wanted characters for Smash. And aside from Mega Man, I'd trade any of the third-party characters on the roster to make it happen, which is saying a lot since Persona 5's my favorite game of all time. I know there've only been 3 Banjo games on Nintendo consoles, and that most people didn't play Banjo-Tooie or even know that Grunty's Revenge exists, which is underrated by the way. But even if the first Banjo-Kazooie's the only one people actually know about, it was still a very impactful game. And if you ask my muddy ass, I think it was the best game on the Nintendo 64. And this doesn't come from a place of nostalgia either, because even though you might think I'm a Nintendo fan man, the truth is that the original PlayStation was the one non-Nintendo console I've ever preferred out of all the console generations I've lived through. And even though I had a 64 as well, I never actually got around to playing Banjo-Kazooie during its heyday, mainly because my mom's boyfriend at the time, Colonel, was always using it to play what he called Madden 69. But when I finally got around to playing it as a full-grown boy years later, I couldn't put it down till I 100%ed it, and I didn't have any issues at all with bullshit that just didn't age well. The game was just straight up fun from start to finish. I mean, look at this channel's friggin' logo. Of course I want Banjo and Kazooie in Smash, you dingoes. I even talked about why I want Gruntilda to be in the game in a recent video, so I don't care what you or your calcium-deficient father says. The Bear and Bird duo have just as much of a right to be in a Nintendo Hall of Fame as anybody else that's in the game. Like, what about this asshole right here? What is your name even?
I told you it doesn't matter what your name is!
However, no matter how badly myself or many others want Banjo-Kazooie in the game, it's just not gonna happen anytime soon. As I've mentioned earlier, Microsoft's ambassador of fun, Phil Spencer, said on numerous occasions that he'd allow it. In fact, I'd go one step further and say that he's borderline asking Nintendo to put him in the game. But Microsoft would have to be dumber than my calcium-deficient father to not want a property that they own to be in a game like Smash Ultimate. Even if they let it happen for free, Microsoft would only see positives from this, whereas Nintendo wouldn't have much to show for it. Sure, the DLC would make the above-average-sized end some money, but they could make my buddy Lonnie a downloadable character and people would still buy it. And I don't think very many people in the entire world would buy Smash Ultimate or any other future games for that matter, just because video game characters have been sitting around with their thumbs in their bums for the past 11 years share a spot on the roster with 70 other characters. So if you think about it, Nintendo has more to lose than gain for Banjo-Kazooie being added to Smash. Cause in 2019, all of Rare's games from the 64 era are somewhat niche anyway. People watching this video probably know all about it, and there's definitely still a demand for it. After all, Yooka-Laylee got funded in like 5 minutes. But the average person doesn't give a single nugget of shit about Banjo, Conquer, or any of Rare's old games, aside from James Bond, oddly enough. And if you add in the fact that nobody cared for that shitty episodic Conquer game that didn't even get a second episode, along with the aforementioned Yooka-Laylee being met with a resounding meh, then it's not surprising that Microsoft hasn't bothered whipping a new Banjo game up just yet. However, if Nintendo were to tout this Microsoft exclusive IP in their biggest game, the hype generated from all the articles, videos, and memes about this new Smash character would spark a lot of interest in the franchise. And once all that happened, we'd surely see a new Banjo game. But the problem with Nintendo is that it'd be exclusive to Xbox, because Microsoft certainly wouldn't go multi-plat with it. So it's unlikely that Nintendo would promote a rival's character that hard with a limited spot on the Smash roster when they could just as easily give it to 1,000 different characters like Waluigi. So unfortunately, Banjo's immediate future is not looking too bright. I know Microsoft and Nintendo have worked together in the past with Rare's IPs, and they've also been pretty buddy-buddy with things like crossplay, but these are all just cases of Microsoft and Nintendo realizing that it'd be stupid to turn some easy money down. I mean, it'd be like some lady giving you $100 on the condition that you'd split it with someone. Sure, you'd turn it down if you hated the person you were supposed to split it with badly enough, but in most cases, you'd probably take the money. However, even if Nintendo knew that they'd make more money from Banjo and Smash than they would any other characters, it'd probably have to be a lot for them to consider promoting a competitor's game thanks to how stubborn they can be. Look, I'm not trying to be pessimistic, and I'm not saying that it's absolutely impossible for Banjo and Kazooie to be in Smash. Not that long ago, I'd even have guessed that it'd happen. After all, Nintendo could be unpredictable sometimes for better or worse. But I really do hope that I'm wrong about all this, though. And if I am wrong, then I'll happily bend over in the comments section to allow all viewers of this video from the future to spank my ass till it turns cherry red. I just think that expecting Banjo to be in Smash is setting yourself up for disappointment. Whenever human beings want something bad enough, our brains will start to see things, even if they're not there. If somebody told you they'd pay $1,000 for every red object in your room you could memorize in 10 seconds and you had to close your eyes, your brain would probably pass certain shades of maroon and pink off as red. And Nintendo fans have been known to get carried away with convincing themselves that things exist when they don't, whether it be through data miners or sometimes even chairs. So when Reggie told everybody that future Smash DLC would be of characters that we wouldn't expect, it just served as evidence for many people, myself included, that Banjo and Kazooie would be among these characters. Cause after all, Persona's been exclusive to Sony for over 20 years, unlike Banjo, who at least used to be a Nintendo character. And even though Joker's in Persona Q2, which is exclusive to the 3DS, his inclusion to Smash Ultimate seems to promote a rival's exclusive. So you might wonder why they'd put Joker in Smash when he actually belongs in the game less than Banjo in every conceivable way. However, despite a Sony logo appearing before the Persona 5 teaser for an announcement, I still think something besides Persona Q2 is coming to Nintendo in return, beyond just the incentive for people to buy DLC. But that's a topic for another video I've already made. And I know that Cloud's in the game despite not having a history with Nintendo as well, but I think the Final Fantasy VII Remake was intended to come to the Switch back when it was known as the NX. And since that game got delayed for 5 years, Nintendo only barely put Cloud in Smash Ultimate since they didn't have a choice to leave him out. But that's also another topic I already made an entire video for as well. And to save time from running down the rest of the third-party characters, every single one of them either does or will do something for Nintendo, or at the very least they won't do anything solely to help rival consoles. So even though I want to believe that the fighters you wouldn't expect to be in Smash means that the characters this video is literally talking about not being in Smash will end up in the game, I'm not gonna hold my breath over it. After all, there's many more likely characters that we wouldn't expect either. Like, what about Lara Croft? With Shadow of the Tomb Raider not selling very well thanks to releasing it at the same time as Spider-Man for some reason, a Switch port would definitely salvage the effort put into that game. After all, shit sells on the Switch. But as for Banjo and Kazooie, we should just get that idea out of our heads. After all, we wouldn't want to be disappointed at future characters that'd be awesome. I mean, it kinda sucked when Joker was revealed and there were people complaining it wasn't Banjo or Waluigi, and I get that Joker's not for everyone, but there were Joker fans that were complaining, so let's just look on the bright side going forward. The point of this video isn't to be an asshole though, and I welcome any lashings in the comments if I turn out to be wrong, but the one thing about me being wrong that's better than getting a freebie to call me a butt knocker, is that getting something truly unexpected makes it that much sweeter. When we get something we expect, our reaction's usually something along the lines of, that's right, we better have gotten it. But even though I'm pretty sure Banjo and Smash won't happen anytime soon, I think that once Persona 5R is fully revealed in March, that we'll know Banjo's status in Smash one way or another. Cause if Persona 5R does come to the Switch, then it supports my theory that Nintendo expects something in return to feature your character in Smash. But if Joker in Smash really turns out to be nothing more than Nintendo trying to do something nice for their fans, then trust me, I'll be right there in the front lines of the Banjo Kazooie riots. Cause if a character that really does turn out to be exclusive to Sony makes it into the game, then there's absolutely no reason in hell that Banjo and Kazooie shouldn't make it in. Which really puts us in a win-win situation depending on who you ask, cause we're either getting Banjo in Smash or Persona 5 to the Switch. Or nothing at all, who knows. All I know is that Banjo and Kazooie should definitely be in Smash regardless of the buzz it might create for Microsoft. But the only thing cooler than Banjo and Kazooie in Smash are the sexy beasts who support this channel on Patreon for loot boxes and silly rewards, as well as the badasses who support us by buying merch. And if you want to appear in our videos, then just send us pictures or videos of you rocking the merch like this legend right here. What do you think about Banjo and Kazooie in Smash Ultimate though? Do you think it'll happen anytime soon? Do you even want them? Or are you gonna spank me in the comments regardless of whether or not I'm right? Either way, let me know what you think in the comments below, and as always, I'll pin whatever I find most entertaining or intriguing. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and if you want to go the extra mile in helping this channel grow, then liking and sharing this video really does help. My name's Cameron, and I'll see you next time.
So I want to say thank you to your loyalty, thank you for your support.